I am so happy to bring you the lesson for today because we're going to go into a subject of Chinese medicine called Qi. So Qi can be spelled C-H-I or it can spell Q-I. You may have seen it in different ways. But the concept of Qi is that it is life force energy. Think of it as your vitality. Think of it as your mojo. And so when you go through menopause, in Chinese medicine, women are viewed as having a lot of value to nature while we're in the childbearing years. And so we have extra, they call it protective qi, that's given to us. Well, once we kind of go past that, unfortunately, nature's like, okay, that one served their purpose, and that protective chi goes away. And you'll see that, that vitality, your libido, your motivation, those kinds of things begin to go, and your energy level. And when you see those symptoms, then you know that chi is lowering. I want to insert a little bit here that the way we think has a lot to do with our chi. So one of the things you can do to help support yourself is to on purpose put happy things, aesthetic things into your environment. The Chinese have a saying that where the chi goes, that where their mind goes, the chi follows. So whether you're thinking happy things or whether you're thinking stressed out things, your chi, your vitality is going to follow that. So keep that in mind. Maybe you can positively impact yourself with that. Now, there are physical signs also that your chi is low. The area underneath the eyes is the area of the kidneys and adrenals. So when you see bags forming under the eyes, when you see dark circles forming under the eyes, sometimes darkness is more genetic. And if that's the case, you would have had it when you were young and had plenty of chi. But if they're getting darker and more kind of sunken looking, that's a physical sign that your chi is getting lower. So what I'm going to do is go over what are the things that can negatively impact your chi, besides just going through menopause, so that then we can talk about solutions to that and start building it back up. Okay, so the first one, as I mentioned, is mental and emotional stress. A lot of times there are just stressful situations that we really don't have control over. In times like that, it becomes more important to purposefully do the things that help to build your chi because you've got to stress, pulling it away. The second thing is there is chi, believe it or not, in the foods that you eat. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples. If you've ever bought an apple from the grocery store, and then in the fall, you live close enough someplace where you can go and pick an apple off the tree, if you bite into those two apples, you're going to have two completely different experiences. Part of that is taste. But part of that, if you pay attention, is the life of the apple. When you bite into that apple off the tree, it's crisp. You can just feel it's brimming with energy. That is the chi of the food. So we have had a big issue with the foods that we eat having less and less and less vitality in them. They're more processed. They might be, a fruit or vegetable might be picked green in California, trucked all the way across the country, sit on a grocer's shelf for a while, and then you get it. All of that lowers the chi that's in that food. So you want to pay attention to those things where you can, but some of it we're just stuck with not a great supply of high chi food. So the other tips that I'm going to give you become even more important. But eat food with life in it. One example I want to give you is also a patient of mine grew tomatoes. And he loved tomatoes, and he just could not wait for his crop to get ripe. He had them coming in, but they weren't ripe. And so he went and bought what he thought was a lovely tomato from the grocery store. They never taste quite the same, but still, this one looked really good. And by the time he was working through these tomatoes he had bought, his started getting ripe. So he just left those store-bought ones there and started eating his own. Well, one day he goes in, this is maybe 7 or 8 days later, and he noticed one of his fresh tomatoes had gone bad. But he looked and, hey, the store-bought tomato that was there a lot longer, that one hasn't gone bad yet. And that's because that chi of that tomato had been messed with. When you irradiate foods, they can fog foods with different chemicals to slow the ripening process. All of that lowers the chi. So as much as you can, get fresh food. Organic is always, always the best. It's always going to have more chi than other foods. So another example from the tomatoes of food that doesn't deteriorate, the chi is not going to be valid in that food, is take a McDonald's Happy Meal. Now you always know, okay, there's really not going to be a whole lot of nutrition in there, but I have a friend who, as of this filming, has a Happy Meal that is 11 years old. It has not developed one speck of mold on the bun. Nothing has gone bad. The meat doesn't smell bad. It's kind of shriveled up a little bit because the moisture has evaporated. The cardboard box that it came in has deteriorated, but the food itself has not. So it doesn't take, rocket scientists to figure out you're not going to get very much vitality from that food. So take a look at what you're eating and drinking and pull in as many vital foods as you can. So let's talk about how to increase your chi. First of all, sunshine. The sun has energy. So when you're out there in the morning getting your morning sun, that's very helpful. Try to get out at lunch if you can, or, different times of the day. Just let sunlight hit your body. It's very, very rejuvenating. Second is breath work. Breath work helps to build chi. Yoga, lots of practices, spiritual practices do breath work as a part of increasing energy, and you can look into some of that and see if it's appropriate for you. If you want to suck that chi to yourself, you can get a juicer. I highly recommend this for anti-aging, is to juice fresh fruits and vegetables through the day. Now, this is more the mental aspect of chi, and that is aesthetics. So beauty and aesthetics actually converge a lot of chi on the body. When you're listening to beautiful music, when you see artwork, when you watch a flower that's just come into bloom and it's so gorgeous, all of these things build your chi. So you can do that on purpose. Bring beauty into your environment. You'd be shocked at what a difference that can make. Let's say you are doing work at your computer and you always kind of feel stressed out. Put a lovely plant on the table. Do things to purposely bring in chi building influences when you're in a place where you feel like, okay, this is probably sucking the chi out of me a little bit. And that's super helpful. So remember that where the mind goes, the chi follows, and we can use that for the positive in this instant. I've also given you a reference to look at a practice called Qigong, which is a type of exercise that can increase the chi in your body. Super easy to do. You can even do it for just a few minutes and it will start to rejuvenate that. So I look forward to talking to you guys later and hearing your wins and seeing if anybody has tried some of this and what the impact has been on you. Talk soon.